It's 2 in the morning. Your dog has a perfectly good bed, maybe even an expensive one, the kind with memory foam and a washable cover that you spent 20 minutes researching online. But they're not in it. They're here, right next to you, taking up 80% of the mattress and leaving you the rest. And you've been through this before. You shift, they shift. You find a comfortable position, and then 40 pounds of warm fur presses right back against your legs. Every single night. Most people assume it's about warmth, maybe comfort. Maybe they're just being clingy. That's the word your friends use, right? Your dog is so clingy. Behavioral neuroscience tells a very different story. What your dog is doing every single night, this thing that you've dismissed as a quirk or a habit or just being a dog, is one of the most complex expressions of trust, attachment, and evolutionary biology between two species on this planet. And most owners have no idea. Now, you've probably Googled it. Why does my dog sleep on me? The answers didn't satisfy you, because the top results gave you 5 bullet points and a stock photo of a golden retriever. The real answer isn't about your dog's behavior. It's about your biology, about what happens chemically, neurologically, evolutionarily, when two nervous systems from two completely different species spend 8 hours pressed against each other in the dark. And what researchers found when they finally measured it changed how we understand the bond between dogs and humans. Let's start with the warmth theory, because it sounds reasonable. Your dog has access to sunny spots, radiators, a couch, and probably a pile of your laundry on the floor. If warmth was all they wanted, they have options. Better options, honestly. A radiator doesn't move. A laundry pile doesn't steal the blanket back. So why do they keep choosing you? Here's the thing. Sleep is the most vulnerable state any animal can be in. Every instinct inherited from thousands of years of predator-prey dynamics screams at them to find somewhere hidden, somewhere enclosed, somewhere safe. Instead, your dog walks past every quiet corner in the house and climbs next to a human 15 times their size. That's not about temperature. That's about trust. Researchers at Eötvös-Loránd University in Budapest adapted a classic psychology experiment for dogs. It's called the Strange Situation Procedure, originally designed by Mary Ainsworth to study attachment in human infants. They put dogs through a series of separations and reunions with their owners and with strangers and measured every behavioral response. What they found was striking. 61% of dogs tested were classified as securely attached. That's almost exactly the same proportion found in human toddlers. The same proximity seeking, the same distress when separated, the same calm when reunited. Functionally identical to the bond between an infant and their mother. Your dog isn't being clingy. They're telling you you're the safest thing in their world. And every night when they choose your bed over every other option, that's not habit. That's attachment psychology at its most fundamental. A pet parent in Colorado set up a night camera. She wanted to know, does her dog actually sleep all night or just lie there? What the camera showed, every single time she shifted in her sleep, her dog lifted its head, checked, then repositioned to stay in contact. 14 times in one night. The dog wasn't sleeping beside her, it was watching beside her. Even unconscious, even in the deepest part of the night, the attachment system was running. That's not habit. That's what researchers would call proximity seeking at its most fundamental level. But here's where it gets really interesting, because this isn't just psychology, it's chemistry. In 2015, a team at Azabu University in Japan published a study in the journal Science, one of the most prestigious scientific journals on the planet. They measured oxytocin levels in 30 dog-owner pairs before and after interaction. Oxytocin, if you haven't heard the name, is the neurochemical your brain releases when you feel bonded to someone. The same molecule that floods a mother's brain when she holds her newborn for the first time. Here's what they found. When a dog gazes at their owner, and the owner gazes back, both brains release oxytocin simultaneously. Across species, not one triggering the other with a delay. Both, at the same time. And it doesn't stop there. The dog's oxytocin goes up, which makes them want to gaze more. The owner's goes up, which makes them want to engage more. More gazing, more oxytocin, more bonding. A self-reinforcing neurochemical feedback loop between two completely different species. They tested the same interaction with wolves raised by humans from birth. The loop didn't activate. At all. This co-evolved specifically between dogs and humans over thousands of years of living together. No other animal on Earth shares this with us. Now here's where it connects to sleep. 10 minutes of petting produces measurable drops in cortisol, your stress hormone, in both of you. 10 minutes. That's it. Now think about what happens over 8 hours of sleeping pressed together. 8 hours of contact. 8 hours of co-regulation. 8 hours of a neurochemical conversation happening beneath conscious awareness. Try 10 minutes of quiet petting tonight before bed. Your cortisol, and theirs, will thank you. Think about where your dog sleeps right now. Think about how they position themselves. Always in contact. Always facing the door. Always between you and whatever might come through it. That positioning isn't random. It's 15,000 years old. The answer is, before almost everything else. Dogs are the only animal domesticated before agriculture, before farming, before cities, before writing. Roughly 15,000 years ago, when humans were still nomadic, still following herds, still sleeping under open skies, wolves began approaching our campfires. Not all wolves, the bold ones, the curious ones, the ones willing to trade distance for warmth and scraps. And over hundreds of generations, something changed. The friendliest wolves survived better near humans. They got more food, more shelter, more protection. And humans got something back, an early warning system, a hunting partner, a warm body pressed against theirs through the coldest nights. Generations later, they weren't wolves anymore. Geneticists discovered that domestic dogs carry unique insertions on chromosome 6, genetic code associated with extreme friendliness and human-directed contact seeking. Wolves don't carry them. No other canid on the planet does. Your dog was shaped at a molecular level to want to be near you, to sleep near you, to bond with you. But genetics is abstract. Let me show you what this looked like in practice. In Bonn-Oberkassel, Germany, archaeologists uncovered a burial site, 14,000 years old. 2 humans, 2 dogs, buried together. One of the dogs had survived canine distemper, a disease that kills most animals within 3 months. The bones showed the dog had been critically ill for over 5 weeks. 5 weeks. No medicine, no veterinary science, no antibiotics. Someone sat beside that dog through fever, through seizures, through nights when survival seemed impossible. They fed it. They kept it warm. They chose to stay. And when the dog died, they didn't leave it behind. They didn't discard it. They buried it beside their family. 14,000 years ago, this bond was already worth that much. That's not anthropomorphism, that's archaeology. Now, I want to tell you about a study that nobody talks about, because the finding seems impossible at first. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic measured the sleep quality of 40 adults and their dogs over 7 nights. Both humans and dogs wore clinical-grade sleep trackers. The objective data was clear. Dogs disrupted human sleep. Movement, repositioning, the occasional 3 a.m. stretch that takes out your ankle, the numbers don't lie. Your sleep is measurably worse with a dog in the bed. And yet, almost every single participant reported feeling more comfortable, more secure, and more rested when their dog was in the room. How is that possible? A researcher at Canisius College surveyed nearly 1,000 women. Dogs were rated as less disruptive than human bed partners, more comforting, more consistent. The motion trackers showed owners were waking up briefly every time the dog moved, but they almost never remembered it in the morning. The physical interruptions were real, but the felt experience of safety was stronger than the disruption. Here's the thing most sleep experts won't tell you. We spent most of human history sleeping in groups, around fires, in shared shelters, surrounded by warmth and breathing and the presence of others. The isolated, solo bedroom is the exception, not the rule. It's barely a few centuries old. Maybe your dog isn't ruining your sleep. Maybe they're restoring something more ancient than sleep hygiene. Yes, dogs objectively disrupt sleep. The data is clear on that. Allergies are a real concern. Your partner might prefer the dog on the floor. And some veterinary behaviorists do recommend separate sleeping spaces for dogs with anxiety issues, because proximity can sometimes reinforce the very patterns you're trying to break. If you're thinking, this sounds like people just romanticizing their pets, that's a fair reaction. A lot of pet content online is sentimentalism dressed up as science. Cute clips with dramatic music and 0 citations. But here's what the Mayo Clinic data actually shows. Both things are true. Simultaneously, your sleep is disrupted, and you feel better. Those aren't contradictory findings. They're revealing something deeper about what your nervous system prioritizes. The question isn't whether co-sleeping with your dog disrupts your sleep, it's whether what you gain is worth more than what you lose. And what comes next isn't wishful thinking. It's not projection, it's not anthropomorphism. It's measurable neurochemistry. Two nervous systems syncing in the dark. That's not sentimentalism, that's biology. In 2024, a team at the University of Jyväskylä in Finland did something remarkable. They attached clinical-grade heart rate monitors to 30 dog owner pairs and measured them across 6 different conditions: resting, playing, feeding, separating, reuniting, and being with strangers. What they were measuring is called heart rate variability, HRV. It's one of the best indicators of how your autonomic nervous system is functioning. High HRV means you're relaxed, regulated, safe. Low HRV means your stress response is activated. Your body is bracing for something. Here's what they found. During every single condition measured, dogs and their owners showed correlated HRV patterns. Their nervous systems were moving in sync. When the owner was calm, the dog was calm. When the owner's stress rose, the dog's autonomic state shifted with it. Not after a delay, together. And the synchronization was strongest during rest. When they tested the same measurements with dogs and unfamiliar humans, people the dogs had never met before, nothing. No synchronization at all. This only happens within bonded pairs. What this means is remarkable. Sleeping beside your dog isn't just a psychological comfort. It isn't just an attachment behavior. It isn't just chemistry. It's a neurological event. Two separate nervous systems, from two completely different species, co-regulating each other through the night, matching rhythms, sharing calm, without a single word spoken. Every night, while you sleep, two nervous systems are having a conversation that neither of you can hear. And now you know it's real. If your dog has been sleeping beside you for months or years, and one day they stop, don't brush it off. Dogs are creatures of habit. When a deeply established behavior disappears overnight, there's always a reason. And understanding that reason quickly can change everything. So here are 3 questions to ask. First, has anything changed in the environment? A new pet, a new person in the house, a shift in your schedule, new furniture. Dogs are exquisitely sensitive to changes in their territory. Something that feels minor to you can feel seismic to them. If this is the cause, give it time. Observe for 1 to 2 weeks. They often readjust. Second, are there any physical signs? Limping, changes in appetite, restlessness, avoiding jumps they used to make easily. Veterinary researchers have found that changes in sleep location are one of the earliest behavioral signs of pain, appearing before limping, stiffness, or any obvious physical symptom. If you see these signs, schedule a vet visit within days, not weeks. Third, is your dog over 8 years old? In older dogs, disrupted sleep patterns are the hallmark symptom of canine cognitive dysfunction, the dog equivalent of dementia. It affects an estimated 35% of dogs over 8. If you notice confusion, wandering at night, or changes in recognition, ask your vet about cognitive screening. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. A 9-year-old lab named Duke had slept beside his owner every single night for 7 years. One Tuesday, he stopped. His owner noticed but assumed. Maybe the weather, maybe the new rug. A week passed. Duke stayed on the floor. Environmental change? No. Age-related? Duke was 9. Prime range. Physical signs? She looked closer. He was slower on stairs. He hesitated before jumping onto anything. The vet found early-stage arthritis in both hips.
Caught early enough for management, not surgery.
Duke didn't stop sleeping beside her because he wanted to. He stopped because it hurt. The behavior change was the message. Your dog doesn't have language. Behavior is the only way they can tell you something is wrong. So the next time you wake up at 3 a.m. with exactly 6 inches of mattress and 80 pounds of dog pressed against your legs, remember what's actually happening. Your dog chose you. Not the couch, not the floor, not the warm patch by the radiator. You. Because 15,000 years of evolution, a neurochemical loop that no other species shares with us, an attachment system built to mirror the bond between parent and child, and 2 nervous systems syncing in the dark, all pointed at one thing. Sleeping beside you is the safest place in their world. And the science says it might be the safest place in yours too. And if you're a cat person wondering whether your cat does the same thing, that's a story for another video, but I'll give you a hint. The science is even more surprising. If this changed how you see your dog tonight, share this with someone who needs to hear it. And drop a comment. Where does your dog sleep? And if you want to understand why your dog stares at you with those eyes, That's the next video, and the science behind it is even stranger than you'd expect.